I am so excited today to have I don't even know how to describe this wonderful lady. Everyone, this is Anessa. Anessa is one of the RBTs at our school, and we're going to
Hello.
start by talking about why Anessa found herself in this field.
As you know, I kind of got into this field because of my son. He was diagnosed with ASD shortly before his third birthday. So prior to that, I knew nothing about ASD, nothing about ABA. I was working for a major insurance company in town here, and yeah, it was I don't know, it was great timing in that we had my husband and I had intentionally decided that I would not return to work after our second child was born. We were so lucky to be in the position where I could choose to stay home, and that's what we had already decided. And then looking back in retrospect, it was such a great decision, and I was so fortunate to have made that decision because I had the benefit of time on my side, so that when I was noticing that things maybe weren't developing typically with my son, that I was able to kind of jump in and learn as much as I could, and then ultimately go back to school. I did the Autism and Behavioral Science program through Mohawk College, distance education, and at the time I was also running a home daycare before and after school. Because, well, my son, he didn't actually qualify for IBI. And that's a disheartening thing for many parents, right? Is you get a diagnosis and you're looking for help and support, and you don't necessarily get it. So you're left to do a lot of research and investigation on your own. So I could do my distance ed while the kids were at school, and it worked out.
How then did you find your way to Oakbridge? You have been with us, by the
Well,
way, since the very beginning as well.
yeah,
So,
even kind of before the beginning. Yeah. The interesting thing was when I was doing my distance ed program, we still had our student placements that we were required to do, and just through other support groups and other parents, I knew Kathy Shaw by reputation, and when I was offered the chance to do student placements at her center, I jumped at the chance. So I did two actual student placements with Kathy, and then that led to working as a home-based therapist for her. And at the time, all I was interested in was part-time work, because my kiddos were still little and were needing me kind of before and after school. And with our family situation, my husband was traveling a lot, so it was kind of left to me to manage things at home. So part-time was what I could manage, and that's what I was doing. And then, wow, the school, I started hearing about OBA, and I had kind of jokingly said to Kathy, well, one day when you're big enough and you need to have some part-time support, for planning time or whatever, I said, let me know. I said, I'm not going to be sending my resume in because I'm not ready for full time at this point. And we kind of had a good laugh about it. And then she, a couple months later said, so were you really serious about that planning time thing? And then at that point, I applied and put in my resume and was interviewed.
you
Yeah,
are the school librarian,
I am.
which our library has looked very different this year because of
It
COVID.
has. Yeah. So it has looked different this year. But what I'm able to do is, having gotten to know all the kids and kind of what their favorite subjects are, I'm able to select books, and I will ask them too, oh, what are you reading or what are you interested in, and try and rotate the books weekly or bi-weekly based on what they're into. And then also knowing the curriculum targets in each classroom, then I can also pull um, nonfiction materials that will support what they're learning in class.
When Anessa says knowing the students individually, there are there are very few staff in our school that really get to interact with every single student. Anessa is one of those. One of the things that she does, as she has already mentioned, is fill in for planning time for our other staff. Anessa is very intentional as her role when she does go into those classrooms. Can you explain to us a little bit about when you are going in for planning time, what exactly it is that you are helping with and helping our students with?
Because it can be different in every class. Some of our classes will use me for what they call catch-up period. So anyone that has maybe been absent or has fallen behind or didn't have time to complete something, I can work one-on-one with them to finish assigned work. We also have available to us some really great online programs. So for reading and math and that sort of thing. So we can assign work that way, and we're just kind of reinforcing skills and concepts that are taught in the classroom.
We don't have one lunch period. We have 2 nutrition breaks. And during that time, this year looks very different. So we're not going to discuss this year right now. Let's talk about the easier version on a year where COVID is not an issue and trying to keep cohorts separate. But half of our school during a normal nutrition break, half of our school will go outside during one portion, while the other half is inside eating. And then partway through, they transition, and that group that's been outside comes in, and the other group goes outside. Anessa runs nutrition breaks outside. Anessa is very intentional with what she is doing when she is out there. Can you explain to us your role?
Yeah, so pre-COVID, we could have obviously classes mixing, and we would have more people out in the same area at a nutrition break time. So a lot of my role at nutrition break was just facilitating games and activities at nutrition break, because a lot of our kids, they want to play, they want to participate, and they're making friends and wanting to make friends, but sometimes they just need a little bit of extra help or encouragement to do so appropriately. So we like, not just me, but all the other staff out there as well, we would have games, and I would try and make sure to rotate what we're playing at every break.
I know a little bit about you already, and so I feel like I know this answer, but you love to be outside, and your family loves to be outside.
Well, some of us more than others, but yes. Yeah.
Welcome to my family.
Yeah.
What are some things that you do by yourself or even with your family that you just take time for yourself and self-care and just family time?
Well, I love reading. So a lot of my times when I'm outdoors at home, it will be on the porch with a book in my hand, but I still am technically outside then. But yeah, so love reading. I've got 2 boys, and they're very busy and active too. So I can hear the basketball right now because they're out shooting baskets. So we'll do that, and we're lucky enough to be located like in the city of Kitchener, but we have so many trails and city community trails near us that we're able to walk or bike ride. And really, I think my love of outdoors comes back to my own parents, because we were always outside as kids, and in the summertime, like, we're always visiting my family for the most part, because we love to be at the lake and the beach and fishing and outdoors. So that's a big part of our summertime.
You also have a furry family member that...
Oh, my number one boy. I like to call him my number one boy.
They don't talk back as much.
No, and much to the dismay of the rest of the men in my household.
I know this has been a hard year for you with your many roles that you've had to transition and adapt to COVID and all of that. You have done that so well. You are amazing. And so we are very lucky to have you at Oak Ridge.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. And hopefully I will be able to see you at some point, but who knows when that will be.
I know. I hope to give you a hug in person
right?
soon. I know.
Very good. Well, thanks, Anessa, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yes, thanks for having me.